Well, here we are. It's another edition of the Stingers Up Sacramento State football podcast. Hornets coming off a bye week, and we're going to get into the details of the sports programs as we're visiting with Mark Orr, the Director of Athletics. Director of Athletics or Athletic Director? What's the official title?
Depends on the day, Jason, but let's go with Director of Athletics today. That sounds a little bit more official, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, let's start with football, Mark, because you were once on a committee that selected the final 24. Mm-hmm. Hornets still have goals that they can get there, but 2 and 3, it's going to make the math a little bit more difficult. Maybe a slower start than they had hoped for, but still some things that can go their way this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think all of our goals are still ahead of us. Certainly, I'm sure Coach Marion and the young men on the team would like to have some games back. Certainly the Nevada game, we're winning the whole game, and had some calls go against us at the end, and a couple of plays we wish we had, turnovers that we wish we would have had back. But that's part of football. But certainly that game was a tough game. And then last week's game, a home game here against Cal Poly. Again, turnovers, had some turnovers in that game that you wish you could have back. You don't turn the ball over. I like our chances in both of those two losses. Mm-hmm. I would say South Dakota State, first game of the season, they've won, I think, 31, 32 games in a row in Brookings, South Dakota. It's a tough place to play. Certainly a first game of the season. So this season so far, I think there's 2 games for sure you'd like to have back with Nevada and Cal Poly. That said, we're only 1 game into Big Sky play. Yep. Certainly, unless somebody goes undefeated in conference, I think there's still opportunities to win a Big Sky championship, which is one of the team's goals. And then you mentioned FCS postseason. We have FCS postseason goals, and I think the opportunity is still there. Obviously, the Big Sky Conference is, in my opinion, the best FCS conference in the country, and very competitive. I think 5 teams that are ranked right now. So you're going to get good competition. Mm-hmm. If we do well in the Big Sky Conference, I like our chances for postseason opportunities.
So I'm going to go back to your playing days to see how you could equate this to have 71 new players. Mm-hmm. It's now what college football is. It certainly wasn't when you played, but what's your best read on that? How long it takes to get adjusted? Because you kind of have to do it on the fly, and there's times where you look, okay, that talent is measuring up, and other times, hey, there's new guys playing together. How long would you say that would take?
Yeah, I think it takes time, and unlike most sports or even in NFL football, there's no preseason, right? And there's no exhibition games, there's no scrimmage games. Now we do spring football, we have inter squads and practices, but there isn't that time to gel. Mm-hmm. College basketball, we play a few exhibition games, some scrimmage games. Same with soccer and most of our other sports. Obviously, the NFL has a preseason. NBA, I just started I watched the Warriors and the Lakers just last night. So in college football, there's not that. So it's go time. Our first live game action for 71 new players was against South Dakota State. Yep. And that's a tough way to start. So I do think it takes some time. You would hope, by 4 or 5 games, you're in a rhythm. I think this week was a good time for us to have a bye and give us a week not only to heal up, but continue to develop that chemistry amongst the team. And it's also the coaching staff. They're working together, many of them for the first time. They're communicating and working with the players for the first time. So I think there's a lot of pieces that take some time to develop. And my hope is, as coming off the bye week, that will continue to improve.
So as they begin Big Sky, they lost the first week. This week they get Weber State. It's the final year of the Big Sky, which is odd to say after all these years. Hornets, at the moment, a team without a conference in the future. There's a lot going on with football. So what's the latest with kind of future ideas for a conference, or even level for the Hornets, FBS versus FCS?
Yeah, I would say a few things. One, we've been very fortunate to be part of the Big Sky Conference for over 30 years. And can't say enough good things about the Big Sky and, opportunities to compete, not just in football, for all of our teams. So football-wise, obviously, our aspirations is to compete as an FBS program. We've been very public about that, very transparent about that, both to our conference and our stakeholders. And that goal hasn't changed. And we do believe we are making some strides to make that a reality. Certainly this past summer, or late spring, summer, we submitted an application to the NCAA to waive the requirement they currently have of you have to have a conference invite to be FBS. So the NCAA denied our request, and we continue to pursue that option, and then through conversations with the NCAA and through the governance process to do that. The other option is to get a conference invite. That would make things a lot easier. Conference realignment, as you know, Jason, continues to evolve across the country. Never in a million years did I think my alma mater, Cal Berkeley, would be in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but they are. Mm-hmm. So I do expect that conference realignment will continue. It's my hope that Sac State will be a part of that with whatever FBS conference, whether it's a conference here in the region, whether it's a conference out of the region. We are not looking for a full all-sport membership. Unlike last year at this time, when we were part of the Big Sky, we needed a home for all of our sports. I'm 100% confident that our sports are in a great position with the Big West Conference. So really, we're looking for a football affiliate conference invite, which in my opinion provides more opportunities because it does open up out of region conferences that may or may not have interest in Sac State. For football, you're really talking 8 conference games, 4 at home, 4 on the road. Again, I think that opens up opportunities for conferences that may not be here on the western part of the country. Considering it, combined with obviously you're not having your tennis team or your baseball team or your softball team having to do all that travel. That's not to say we don't have interest and wouldn't have interest to regional FBS conferences, and which we do. So where we're at with it is we're exploring all the options, continue to pursue our FBS opportunities. I do think and I do feel confident we will be an FBS program. I think our university, our investments into football, what we're doing with the stadium and facilities, and Sacramento, this community has shown, year after year after year, that it can support big time professional sports like the Kings and the Republic and the River Cats and the A's, but also big time college sports like Sacramento State.
So when you and others, I'm sure, have been working the phones, talking to conference commissioners and trying to see where they are and are there openings? Is there any potential? What's the feedback you're getting? Because as you said, you need the invite. What are you guys hearing when Hornets reach out in pursuit of that?
Yeah, I think the message that I've heard, not just from commissioners, but peer athletic directors and media, is that we're doing the right things. We're obviously making the right investments into our programs. We're building our infrastructure. We're hiring the right people. We're investing in NIL and revenue share. Our enrollment continues to grow. We're over 31,000 students now. So we're doing the right things. I think obviously everybody's kind of watching the national landscape of what other moves are going to happen with other conferences that may not be related to Sac State, but create opportunities. So, what's happening with the Big Ten and the SEC, what's happening at the NCAA national governance level with rule changes and structure to our organization. What is happening with all the litigation that's happening on a national level? How can that impact conference decisions? So I think we've taken the approach here at Sacramento State. We can control what we can control. And I think obviously we've made it known that we have interest in an FBS conference, and we've let several conferences know we do have that interest, and have had discussions with several conferences, not just one, two, but many of them. That said, we will continue to invest into our programs and continue to demonstrate that, and hire the right people, recruit the right student athletes, and hopefully have successful football seasons.
Yeah. one of those areas of investing is in facilities. You guys have been talking about a stadium. It started with maybe an on-campus project, which still may be out there. And then there's talk of Cal Expo. What's the latest on kind of the stadium search?
Yeah, for sure. As you mentioned, we are committed to building a new stadium. We've made some small but significant investments to our current stadium. You probably, if you've watched any of the Hornet football games, you've seen the new LED boards on the sidelines, the new end zone seating section, the new lights that flash,
the strobe lights,
at touchdown. So. We've made some investments to the fan experience in our current venue, and we will continue to do that because it's not just about the future; it's about the now. We commissioned a study to be able to look at an on-campus stadium site. Populous was contracted as an architect. We started going down that process and have made a significant progress with an on-campus stadium plan. The spring of this past year, so spring of 25, Cal Expo, the representatives from Cal Expo reached out to us. Cal Expo was sunsetting horse racing. You know, as a kid, I grew up here in Sacramento. I went to many.
You went?
Oh, I went to horse racing, harness racing. I didn't get a chance to gamble on it because I was too young. But obviously many of state fairs. Cal Expo is just a wonderful project. It's 2.8 miles from our campus. So we went over, obviously took a look at the site, had conversation with their leadership, felt that there was enough there that we should inquire more and explore a potential opportunity to partner with Cal Expo. Cal Expo is a state agency just like Sac State. You know,
does that make that easier, more difficult?
Makes it much easier.
Okay.
Makes it much easier because it's two state agencies. Our resources are both coming from the state of California. Makes it much easier. Has over 15,000 parking stalls there. Obviously, our friends at the Sacramento Republic are going to be leaving Cal Expo in 2027. So outside of the 17 days we have for the state fair, it needs an anchor, a tenant there. And it's a wonderful piece of property and land out there. So we felt there was enough for us to explore it further. And we went to their board. We sent them a letter of interest. Once we had after Cal Expo reached out to us, we sent over a letter of interest, met with their board. This is the one that was public. So this was, about a month or so ago, a little bit more than a month ago, to enter into an MOU that we can begin having some negotiating of what potentially a stadium could be there at the horse racing site. If all works out, if all the details work out, then we would move further with Cal Expo. If not, it does not mean that we wouldn't pivot to our campus because we've done the work and we have a wonderful site on our campus. People have asked me, what are the benefits of Cal Expo versus campus? Our campus, I love our campus, but we're landlocked as a campus. There's rivers and freeways and J Street surrounding our campus. So there's not a lot of land. Certainly, and parking and egress and ingress to Sac State's tough. So we can probably, the maximum we can build on our campus is probably 25,000. I don't think we can go much further than that on our current campus site. Cal Expo, we would initially look at a 25,000 seat stadium, but there's enough space that someday, if you wanted to have a 40,000 seat stadium or a 50,000 seat stadium, there is plenty of space and parking to do that. If you wanted to add, practice fields or other entities at that site, you can.
Yeah.
So it's a much bigger site and certainly gives more opportunity for future growth than what we could do on our existing campus site. So we're exploring it.
Yeah.
I would tell those who are following Hornet football, stay tuned. I know there's a lot of questions about what we're doing with the stadium, and I understand all of it, but we've got to go through our process. I wouldn't be doing my job, and certainly President Wood wouldn't be doing his job if we didn't explore that and do our due diligence and really go down that path and examine that site head to toe and see if it is an opportunity for us.
Based on that answer of the potential size of what Cal Expo could be, was there ever any thought of connecting with the Republic? Or I think their stadium might be smaller and be a tenant with them, or is that an option that was ever explored?
Yeah, I would say we explore pretty much every option you could possibly explore in my time here.
Yeah.
I would say the Sacramento Republic, great respect for Kevin Nagel and the many, many years commitment that he's made. I'm a big fan, big supporter. So is President Wood. I think Sacramento deserves an MLS bid. I'm so happy that the rail yards project looks like it's going. It's been many, many years and it works by so many good people. I think at the end of the day, it just didn't make sense for Sac State. It does not mean that we're not supportive of the project. I think initially they're looking at a 12,000 or 15,000 seat facility, which would be wonderful for soccer. Obviously, the rail yard side is great. I think at this point it doesn't make sense for Sacramento State, and I'm not sure if it would have made sense for Sacramento Republic. And again, that doesn't mean that there's any beef there.
Right.
It's just and there's no reason why our market can't support a college stadium that's used for football and a MLS soccer stadium for soccer. Many markets the size of Sacramento have multiple Major League Baseball and NFL and college and soccer stadiums across its community. So I think both of us can be very successful with our venues.
Yeah, I know everybody always wants timelines. When's this going to happen, Mark? When can we know? But how long do you think that information gathering part on Cal Expo will take?
I think we're close. I think over the course of I think you're talking weeks, not months. Mm-hmm. So I would say over the course of the next few weeks, we'll have a better idea of what the feasibility is.
But if that lines up well, then that looks like a direction you guys may go.
Yeah, I think so. I think if again, I'm not the only decision maker in this, but I would think that if we're comfortable with the feasibility and the inquiries that we have, and obviously the financing and all the things that you got to do for a stadium, I think it makes a lot of sense for us. Okay.
So we've talked about where a potential for FCS or FBS in the future, potential stadium in the future. The more difficult thing may be scheduling. Mm-hmm. My goodness, next year, at the moment, a team without a conference. Not a lot of games are locked and loaded for next year. You're a big part of trying to gather this all in. Talk to us about just the challenge. One, because you don't know what level you're going to be or where you're going to be. How do you even come up with a 2026 schedule?
Well, I think there's a couple things. Obviously, we have Fresno State.
That's locked in.
We're excited to play Fresno State down at Fresno. So that's always a fun game down in the Valley. And we look forward to playing our Bulldog, our partners down there. We have significant interest from schools across the country to play us. And I think we certainly, whether we're in a FBS conference or not, we're doing everything we can to play FBS opponents. Okay. And there's several FBS programs we've had conversations with and exchanged information and trying to figure out dates and everything that works. We would obviously continue to play some FCS programs as well. So I think we'll see a little bit of a mix of both of some FBS and some FCS games. So now, again, if we get an invite to an FBS conference,
changes everything.
That changes it. If you're independent, that changes it. If you're FBS independent, that's one thing. If you're FCS independent, that's another. So how would I say it? I have a big whiteboard in my office that has a lot of different.
Yeah, is there like an FCS chart, FBS part?
A lot of parallel tracks, but I am confident that we'll have at the end of the day, we'll have a terrific schedule that our fans are going to be excited about, and so are our student athletes and coaches.
I mean, there's challenges everywhere, but as you're saying it, I'm thinking of a scenario if you're FCS independent with goals of being FBS, you'd want to play more FBS, but you'd still be FCS playoff eligible. So you're juggle. And I'm just thinking of the scenarios you have in your head.
Yeah, no, that's all part of it. And Coach Marion's a big part of this as well. And so we'll put together, as best we can. I mean, timing's not great, obviously, to the football season is less than a year away. So you're, and
like just for example, how far, like if you were locked in, you've been Big Sky for years. Yeah. Sometimes that schedule's 3, 4, 5 years out.
Most of your non-conference scheduling is like you said, 3 or 4 years out. So it's not like everybody has open schedules for 2026. So
right.
It's you are having to find windows where teams are available. I wish I can just go and pick the games I want to play and go play them.
Yeah.
This is one of those you've got to find a match. You got to find someone else that's also looking for a game, and the date works, and the two coaches want to play. So there's there's some nuances to it. But we'll like I said, there's significant interest in playing us. I think a lot of schools across the country are excited and have seen some of the success we've had here at Sacramento State, and a lot of them want to come out to Sacramento because California is a great recruiting area. Many teams across the country have student athletes from our state, so coming back and playing a game in California makes sense. And then obviously we're willing to travel and play on the road, even if it means going back east or going down south. I mean, we'll travel. So I think that makes it a little bit easier.
I got to imagine the October-November schedule is the biggest challenge, because a lot of times at the beginning of the year, you can get some of those teams. Yeah. How's that part of it?
Yeah, the challenge, as you said, so most schools across the country are in conferences. Mm-hmm. So most conferences schedules begin in early October and extend through November. So there's games locked up during that time period. So that's definitely the harder months to find windows.
Yeah.
Now teams usually have bye weeks. There's some schools whose conferences, because of realignment, don't have the same number of games as they previously had. So they're trying to find those windows. So there's some creativity there, and we're working through it.
Yeah, I'd imagine getting FBS teams, if you're playing them, to come here is maybe one of the other bigger challenges. Because traditionally you can go there, but having them come here, is that a challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. I think getting an FBS team to come play, if we are an FCS counter, that's difficult to do.
Yeah. And then the other one that it could cost for a year or two, who knows, but maybe the Causeway rivalry. I know there's still a desire to play them, but that with the Big Sky adding the 2 new teams, they're going to play 9 league games, leaving just 3 non-conference games.
Yeah, we would love to play UC Davis, and we want to keep the Causeway going. It's been 72 years, I think, straight. Other than the 2020 year with COVID,
right?
We've played every single year, so we're certainly disappointed that at this point it appears that we won't be able to play the Causeway next year. Now, some of that is, as you mentioned, the Big Sky schedule is a 9-game schedule, and then UC Davis already had 3 non-conference games scheduled. That said, as I shared with my counterparts at UC Davis, we would do whatever to play them. If that meant taking one of their opponents and playing them to free up a date for them, more than willing to do it. Working with the Big Sky to fit us in, but at the end of the day, it appears based on our communication with Davis that they're pretty set with their schedule next year with 9 conference games and 3 non-conference games that they don't have room to play us. So hopefully in 27, as I've shared, and I know Coach Marion has shared as well, we'll go there, we'll play them, we'll anytime, anywhere. I mean, we value obviously the rivalry and want to continue to play.
Yeah. So in all your years, whether you're at St. Mary's or here, is this just the weirdest time for maybe here, but also just college sports, the constant change and that change is maybe something we don't even see today that could impact your stadium, your future division, your future conference. It's really a weird time in college sports.
Yeah, I've been a Division I athletic director for I think it's my 21st year, and I've never seen anything like this. And I'm not saying Sacramento State, I'm just saying in college athletics in general. Yeah. Obviously, realignment, name, image, and likeness, revenue sharing, the litigation that's taking place across the country, eligibility cases, all the just private equity is now making its way into college sports. So it's a very different time. And I think universities and athletic programs that can adapt and adjust are going to be better off than the ones that don't. So I think some of us, like myself, who've been in it a long time, we've got to adjust. We've got to adapt. And we have to be comfortable that you're going to have roster turnover like we do. You have to feel comfortable that, yes, student athletes are going to get revenue in NIL, and some of it, it's real money.
Yeah.
That's part of it. You have to feel comfortable that, a conference realignment is here to stay, and you may be out of region a little bit, or it may feel a little funny that Duke was playing Cal football on a Saturday night football game. And that's just part of it. Sacramento State, we maybe end up in an FBS conference that's out of region. We may end up we may be an independent. That's just what's happening in college sports right now. And so I feel every day you're something new may come up, and you adapt in terms of our industry, and be ready to adapt.
Yeah. I'm sure when you came here, 17, 18,
Mm-hmm.
that if I told you then, Mark, there's going to be a day where you're going to be on stage like with a DJ that's Shaq, that's your general manager for basketball, you'd have been like, oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
How weird is that?
It's great. Sometimes you have to pinch myself in my role as an athletic director. You usually don't get starstruck, or at least you try not to get starstruck, because you try to be professional. You're an athletic director.
But it's Shaq.
It's Shaquille O'Neal. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in my office and I was on a phone call with Shaquille O'Neal and Master P. So how about that? Master P, I said, No Limit.
Are you just listening at that point? Or like,
that's like late 1990s, 2000s rap songs. And then you have Shaquille. So no, it's having Shaquille involved with Sacramento State basketball. It's just been tremendous. And Coach Bibby's doing a great job. We're excited about the upcoming basketball season as well. And they'll have a very talented program. And Shakir, Shaq's son, is just a phenomenal, obviously basketball player, but just a person and student athlete. So I told Shaq he's raised his son the right way. He's just tremendous. So so we're excited about basketball, and not just men's basketball, women's basketball, all of our programs. Volleyball is doing great. I know Coach Volta caught up with you a bit, and they're having a great season. Coach Callhoff and women's basketball as well. So Hornet sports are in a good place, and looking forward to Weber State with football this weekend. And obviously Big Sky football is, it's challenging, but I expect us to compete for a championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's still the Montana game on national TV, still that Causeway, still a game with Idaho, and all the other games. I mean, there's some big games ahead, and they can, like you said earlier, still chase their dreams. And I guess for Hornet fans, just keep watching and listening, because there's news coming on some front here.
Here's what I would encourage Hornet fans to do. One, come out to games.
Yes, exactly.
So we are, attendance has been strong.
But bring more people.
We're averaging close to 14,000 fans. I think we're about 13,600 right now. And each game has been more, which is impressive. We have homecoming for our next home game. We expect a huge crowd for homecoming, and all the honors court and the students and the alumni coming back. So that's against Northern Colorado, a much improved Northern Colorado program. So that's on October 18th. And then the following week, we have a Friday night ESPN2 matchup with Montana. That will be another a big crowd. So the next two home games, they're just going to be phenomenal. And I know our students on campus are excited. Our team is excited. Obviously, first up is Weber State, but following Weber State, I encourage Hornet fans to come out to Hornet Stadium and support this team. I think the best is yet to come with Hornet football this season. And as you said, the goals are ahead of us. Really do believe we have the talent and the coaching staff and to put the pieces together and make a run here to compete for a conference championship and NCAA postseason.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And we will keep our eyes and ears on what's going on with the Hornets in their future. And thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks to all of you listening to the Stingers Up podcast. It's tremendous. And Jason, thank you for doing this.
Thank you. All right, that's Mark Orr. We appreciate everyone checking us out this week on another edition of the Stingers Up Sacramento State Football Podcast.